morning, everyone. Hopefully you are all fine. Greetings from Stockholm, Azets office here. Second cup of coffee for today.
Yeah.
So let's wait still a few more seconds if there is somebody fixing the headphones or speakers. So we are here ready, and we hope that you all are really fine for today. It's sunny day here in Stockholm, so nice to have you here on the webinar. But now it's time, so we will start. So today we have a pleasure to have a joint webinar with Matmissionen to go through what is our story, and that's why we have here Johan.
Yes.
So Johan, welcome.
Thank you. Hello, everybody.
So would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Johan Rindevall, and I run a social business called Matmissionen, which in Swedish is a translation for the food mission. We have been operating since 2015, and I have actually been here since the start. Since 2022, we are on a big expansion journey, and that has led to some opportunities, some challenges, and especially needs in terms of what systems we use. So that's what I'm here to talk a little bit about.
Yeah, nice to have you here. And my name is Mikko Roininen. I'm the Nordic sales lead of our business solutions business in Azets. And I've been now in Azets like 18 years, and I've been part and leading actually early days quite many rollout projects also in the stores in Sweden and other Nordic countries. So I have lots of background of like retail business, and now I'm leading this business solution sales and being with Matmissionen from beginning. So it's nice to have this webinar with you.
Yeah, nice to be here.
Yes. So today our topics is that we will have a short introductions. I will tell a little bit what we are doing as Azets, and then Johan will tell more about the Matmissionen story. Then we will go through what is the solution we have now built for Matmissionen, and then how we actually did it a little bit to the project, and then at the end we will discuss what is coming next.
Yeah.
So that is today's agenda, and we try to fit this for this 1 hour slot, but let's see how it goes. And I want to remind you that this slide deck will be shared with you after the webinar, and also there will be recording available later on that will be shared to you. And of course it's really nice to have a feedback, so at the end there is this QR code that you can scan and send feedback to us. That's really appreciated. And then also, if you have any questions at all during any time of the presentation or the webinar, you can write that down. There should be chat open. So then we will go through those questions at the end. Or if we don't have time, we will come back to those questions afterwards via email, so we know who sent it out.
Yep.
So please be active there. I think that's all what I needed to say. Okay. But first, a little bit about Azets. So we are working together for success. So we are one stop shop for all accounting, HR, and payroll services, including also the technology services that our customers need. And we have also extensive advisory services from leadership development and sustainability reporting that is quite hot topic at the moment. And as Azets, our ERP unit is basically based on the third-party solution, so we are there on the software segment. And then what is our mission? Like we heard, what is the mission of Matmissionen? But our mission is to be here to save our customers precious time, so they and our customers can focus on doing their own business efficiently and growing their business, and we take care of all of these like back office processes and make sure the systems that the back office work pretty well. And we like to be with our customers like a long-term partner, offering the services based on always the current need. We are a global company. We have as Azets globally we have 9,000 employees and over 100,000 customers. Our owners are in UK. The privately owned company, and in the Nordics we have big operations in all the Nordic countries. We have in Nordics alone 2,500 employees, and we are located in all the Nordic areas of Finland, Sweden, Norway, and Estonia as well. And then a little bit about this business. We are talking about is our business central at LS Central footprint, meaning that what we do with this solution wide. We have quite many. We have over 5,000 business central users and over 100 clients. We have been doing implementations quite around the world actually. So we have 15 countries we have implemented the business central, and we have quite many retail customers. So currently there is over 1,100 locations like stores, restaurants, warehouses, where we are all like a system used in the Nordics alone. And we have our Nordic level support and continuous services, and of course we can give a support for the other countries as well, but mainly for the Nordics. We have over 85 business central professionals and over 140 accountants working daily with business central, so that is quite a much of business central knowledge. Then, yeah. Johan, please.
Yeah, as I said, Matmissionen in Swedish, or translated to English, it means the food mission. And I think I dare make the claim that we are maybe not your typical customer at Azets. So I wanted to talk a little bit about who we are and the context in which Matmissionen is working. So as I said, we started in 2015. So this is actually our 10-year anniversary this year. And when we started, we were the first example of something called social supermarket in the Nordic countries. There had been social supermarkets in other parts of Europe before, mainly Austria and France, for example. But Matmissionen was started by an organization called Stockholm City Mission. It's an NGO that's been operating for 170 years, mainly meeting needs in education, food, and work integration. And of course, business, that's probably what everyone kind of associates Stockholm City Mission with. But I would say that Matmissionen is the answer to two questions that we had. It was, how do we work more systematically and more professionally with food donations? And the second question, how do we become the best possible partner to the business? Because if you want to donate food, or if you want a company to donate food, it can't add a huge amount of new processes. So we decided that we would try 3 business models, if you will, food banking, a social supermarket model, and a food waste restaurant. And we did this during the years of 2015 to 2018. And as of today, we still run food banks locally and nationally, and we have social supermarkets, which is the core, I would say, of Matmissionen. And for now, we decided to not run a separate food waste restaurant, but we work with the model in social operations. So if you look at Stockholm City Mission, for example, we have as an organizational goal that at least half of the food that is served to our guests is supposed to be saved food. And we actually meet that. We're at just about 60% right now. So I will very soon get to what is Matmissionen and how does it work, but it's important to know that the first few years were kind of model building, and we also prepared to take it nationwide, because for the first few years it was Stockholm only. And we had a big thing happen in 2022 where the Swedish grocery industry as a whole kind of stepped in and backed us. So in Sweden we have 2 major associations, one that represents all of the stores, that represents all of the producers and manufacturers of food. And both of those stepped in as main partners to Matmissionen since 2022, which allowed us to really speed up. So if you look at the start of 2022, we had 3 stores, 2 in Stockholm and 1 in Malmö. And as I'm standing here right now, we actually have 17. I cheated a little bit on the screen there. We will open our 18th store in our 12th city next month. So important to know as we get into how does this work is that we are a non-profit, and we also run this national organization like a non-profit franchise. So locally, it's NGOs with strong ties to the local community that kind of operate our stores. So we can move on, I think.
Yeah.
So what's important to know is that we have three main goals at Matmissionen. One, reducing food waste. Everything you see in our stores is functional products at risk of becoming waste that is donated to us from all of the food industry. On a yearly basis, approximately 100 companies. On a regular basis, around 70. Among those are all the major food store companies in Sweden. We talk a lot about food poverty, and on the European level, this has been a term for a long time. But in Sweden, we in this sense, being the city missions and Matmissionen, were the ones to kind of introduce it. It's something we don't talk about a lot in Sweden because we have kind of a self-image of being a country where everyone is taken care of. But if you look at the numbers, kind of how behind it, we can see that the last period with large or high inflation in the 90s. So if you compare that to 2022, we actually have double the percentage of people who live in relative poverty. And this is actually a growing problem in Sweden. You can look at just the past 3 years. There's a measurement called social and material poverty. You take 13 different markers. It can be like, can you afford something sudden that happens? Can you afford to fix your car? And one of those measurements or markers is, can you afford to put protein on the table every other day? Bird, beef, pork, or a vegetarian option. And the number of Swedes that answer no to that question has actually doubled in 3 years. So food poverty, when we talk about it, is not hunger, it's not starvation, because that's not a huge problem in Sweden, but we are seeing more and more people having to kind of refrain from buying certain things for themselves or for their children because they simply can't afford it. So what we're trying to do with Matmissionen is to open up some of those choices again, lowering the prices, not just on what we have, but the hope is that if you buy something at our store, maybe you can afford to buy something else at another store. And how this works, I will explain as fast as I can. But we have a couple of core values. I have touched a little bit upon them, but there is a reason why we do this in a store model. It's actually what drew me to the concept to begin with. My background is in retail, but I'm also a political science major. So we talk a lot about agency. In Sweden, we call it egenmakt. So it's kind of how you can affect your own life through choices. And if you are on welfare, then slowly your agency is getting chipped away because you have to actually prove that you meet the standards for different welfare, and you always have to prove something to get something. So what we want to put back in the lives of the people we meet is the freedom of choice. I can choose anything that's in this store, and I am here on a familiar set of rules, so to say. I'm a customer like anybody else, or actually I'm a member in this store, so I'm a little bit above a customer. And I also think that there is something to say about dignity. If I meet Mikko here in a regular like food support operation, normally you get a packet that I have packed for you, and you're supposed to be grateful for me and for my gift. But in here, people actually pay, and that becomes another transaction, another type of transaction, and another type of relationship. And we see this pretty clearly, I would say, in the store, that something happens when you are given back some of the agency. How it works, though, is not rocket science. But as we will get to, it comes with a whole lot of very special rules that we have to follow. But we are a members-only store, and our membership is based on economic hardship. So as I said, in the welfare system, you always have to prove that you're qualified for something, and you actually have to do that with us as well, but only once per year. So you apply for a membership, and we follow the level of welfare. And if you're living on welfare or below that, because that also happens, then you can become a member. And our pricing is set about a third of a regular store. And this is where our special rules come in. Every customer can buy goods for approximately 30 euro per week. And that's kind of hard to picture, but 30 euros per week in our stores with our prices normally amounts to maybe 5 or 6 full bags of products. If you've been at the food store when there's a campaign, you can typically see that this product you can only buy 1 or 2 per household. That's every item in our stores because we have a limited amount, and what we have is completely we're completely dependent on what we get donated. So if you come this week, it will be a whole other store than next week. We're also trying, because as I said, this is a growing problem in Sweden and one that we haven't really talked about. So another thing that drew me to Matmissionen is that we're actually driving political opinion by putting a spotlight on the problem. If you want to visit a social operation, the barrier of doing so is kind of high, but these are stores in the public space, and when you see a lot of people like standing in line waiting to buy cheap food, and you see all of this food in the store that was supposed to be thrown away, then it kind of gets the mind going. As I said, we also run food banks, and the business model, if you will, is that the revenue from the stores is supposed to finance the food banks. Most food banks internationally are dependent on charitable donations, and our goal is to become more of a fixture. By making our own money, we don't have to compete with people giving money. Right now, we have 30,000 members approximately all across Sweden. We served 25,000 last year, and we're hoping to reach 50,000 by the end of 2027. So this actually relates to what we've been working with Azets to do, but we like to measure everything. We talk a lot about sustainability in different dimensions, and I will get to that. But one thing that is really, really cool when you talk about agency and this target group is that it's in all of my years of retail, it's been, I think, 25 years. This is by far the most engaged customer base I've ever had. Long story short, we have what I would call a Black Friday shopping manner every day. If you combine a limited amount of goods with really low prices, then you get people who all want to be first in the stores, especially since the sense is that we fill up the store every day, and if you're the first to come there, then you will have the most options. So before COVID, we typically had 60 to 80 people in line outside of the stores we had, and as the pandemic hit and the restrictions started to come, we realized that this is not going to fly if we want to stay open. So we actually launched an app for a smartphone app, and I myself was a little bit prejudiced on how many of our customers would actually use this, but it turns out that over 9 out of 10 use it, because agency, the more you can control your own situation, the happier you are. So the app is mainly a tool for reserving a time, so we can kind of steer the customer flow. But through the app, we can also see this weekly allowance, and most importantly, we can talk directly to our members. So last year, we actually sent out a survey to all of our members, and about 1 in 4 actually responded, which is phenomenal. And it turns out, when all is said and done, we had just above 4,500 respondents, which makes it the biggest survey we've found in Sweden in terms of respondents when you look at people in the welfare system and ask questions regarding food. So the quote on the right there is an actual quote. We received 50 pages of free-form answers. But the main numbers I want to highlight in terms of what do we contribute to is that 7 out of 10 respond that they can buy more fruits and vegetables. About as many say that their stress regarding food purchases is reduced, and over 60% can afford protein more often. It's also, the survey kind of also gives support to the model itself, with 6 out of 10 saying that the visit to the store is actually an important social activity. But it's not all sunshine and roses. We also see clearly that the thing I spoke about with social and material poverty is a growing problem, because even with the support of Matmissionen, about half of our customers respond that they can't afford to eat protein every other day. This year's survey is actually out now. We're running it for another week, but we've already topped last year's responses. We're at 5,000 and ticking right now. So like I said, we want to measure just about everything. I think I have one more. Yeah. And this is a little bit in Swedish. It was part of a template, so I'll translate. But we actually, in our yearly reports up until now, don't talk about economy at all, because that's not the important part for us. We can actually have years as we expand that we don't break even, and that can be fine. But we measure that against what gains on a societal level or for our members are we contributing to. And the ones you see here from left to right is social sustainability, social economic sustainability, and ecological sustainability. And parts of these are calculated by research that's been done. For example, the social sustainability mainly focuses on our work integration. Like I said, 3 goals: reducing food waste, making food more affordable, and putting people to work and helping them get into the workforce are our 3 goals. And there's actually a number that says that if you go from unemployment to employment, the society gains typically between 180 to 500,000 crowns per year. So that's how we calculate that one. The middle one is kind of easy. It's how much our customers or members save, and how much food, how much worth of food we can deliver through food banks. And finally, we have had PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, calculate what we actually sell and come up with a number per ton on how much CO2 is saved. And I like this picture because it shows not only that the sustainability numbers are way larger than our revenue. We didn't quite hit 100 million Swedish crowns last year, but as you can see, the societal gains are more than double. And I also like the fact that the logic for the city missions to do this is not mainly ecological. If you look at something called the food mission, the mind jumps to the fact that probably we're working with a primary goal to reduce food waste, but the social and socio-economic aspects are actually more important to us. And it's really nice to also see that in the output. Now I have talked really a lot, so no, I thought I was done, but you will have to put up with me for one more slide, I think. But we've had some challenges, and I will soon turn over to Mikko to talk a little bit about how we managed those. But the main thing was that we have a regionally focused landscape in the NGO business in Sweden. So we needed kind of to build this in this way as a franchise of sorts, but we also saw early on that we need to be able to have everything in the same system. We haven't really had that. We've had many different systems. I mentioned the app, but we've had a cashier system, a warehouse system, a logistics system, the app, and all of them trying to talk to each other. But as we grew larger, this became difficult. We also had trust and transparency, I would say, as our most important currency. So we need to be transparent. And this pertains to, I would say, every part of the business. We need to be transparent to our donating companies, or they won't give us food. We need to be transparent with our customers, because the main thing they expect from us is fairness. There will always be less supply than there is demand, and our customers have an understanding of that as long as they can count on the system to be fair. As I said at the beginning, we're also kind of small operations, but we have very particular needs if we're to meet every standard from the industry, because Matmissionen is under the same laws and regulations as a regular food store. So a really, really like technical example is the fact that if you have a piece of chicken, that piece of chicken can actually have come to us from maybe 3 or 4 different places, from a food store, from a food warehouse, from the manufacturer, or from e-commerce. And we have to be able to tell, if we have an inspection, what place this particular packet of chicken actually came from. And we haven't been able to do that, frankly. So I would say our main challenges has been to connect everything, not just in terms of systems, but nationally, and to kind of have fairness in all of the system, because we're always working with a scarcity of products, and no matter if it's a particular store or a member shopping in a store, everyone wants fairness from the system.
Yes, so basically, like, thank you for opening up the story and your what you're doing in the Matmissionen, and then like when we started discussion like 2004 January, something like that.
24.
2024 January, or actually like 2023, and we like I put it here 3 bullet points about the main capabilities that you were looking for, because I remember starting the discussion, understanding the business, and then of course as us, the technical team, turning into the technical specs and what we should do. I think you already did some research about the solutions, that there were not any ready-made solutions for you available. So at the first place, we already knew that, okay, this is the what you have been already like narrowing, and this could be the good platform, but still needed somebody to take it to the next level. So basically, if I really simplify this, your long explanation to 3 bullet points, that the one thing is to have the real inventory management, like what is happening and where, and then the fair product distribution across the stores in different cities. So when you get donations, you will distribute them as like efficiently as possible, but also as fair as possible.
If I remember the process correctly, we actually had kind of a big specification of things we wanted done, and when we had looked, as you say, we didn't find anything in the NGO area all across Europe that was good enough. And when we put our spec out for bidding, we had, I think, 3 companies, and one of them, when they realized the scope, pulled out. So it was you and another company actually
providing the LS central system. And then the third bullet here is to have this customer purchase limitations to ensure the equitable access. So meaning that, of course, like in the normal retail system, like we want to maximize what the customer is buying, but here we actually need to put the limits to the customers to buying. It's more like as you mentioned about how we handle the discount in the stores. So that is actually good explanation. But then we will go actually to that project scheduler later, so we can discuss that. But then I think from this point of view, I will tell you a little bit about the solution we have now built for Matmissionen, and what are the most important pieces. There is mainly 3 main systems or things we have implemented together, and to bring the overall solution. So basically everything is built on Microsoft ecosystem. So the core of the solution is the Microsoft 365 Business Central. That is the ERP solution here. And then to extend it to the retail functions, have all that like a store management and like a franchise management and all that like a cash management, point of sales and everything. Then we needed to have this LS Central vertical for retail, and we have been delivering that quite a long And then we have many cases what we have done with that vertical. So that's then in this picture, top of the Business Central, and also below there's all these other Microsoft products that you have been already using earlier and you were familiar with, and your users were familiar, and you already actually had the Azure tenant and everything. So it was nicely fit for your like Microsoft ecosystem. And also Microsoft is having special pricing for NGOs to enable to have this like a system in use as well, also in the ERP side as well. And then in top of that, we build our own extensions. We will go a little bit later more what we did. And then also there is this like a third-party add-ons like Tasklet that is also coming here. So they're all connected as a one united system. And it works in user point of view really well with like you can use still the Excel and have it in the Business Central, or take out something to Excel and things like that. And also, of course, in the future there could be something we can use Copilot or things like that to make process more efficient as well. So it's just basically single system, works across the different locations, and it's easily scalable when you're opening the new stores. So then really briefly about the main solutions and what are their capabilities. So as I mentioned, the core system is the Microsoft 365 Business Central, and that is the ERP core there. And it's having many capabilities, but of course here we are looking more about the financial management. There is the supply chain management that are main parts that we use in Business Central. And this is also the full like a map what all kind of capabilities Business Central is having. So I'm not going to details, but because it's quite a large ERP and there was quite many needs you had, so we were able to use actually quite a lot of already made like a features, just to tweak it a little bit how to use different elements. So it's good to remember. And then what comes from the LS retail is that like a retail vertical solution. And I like this picture because there is actually like quite many things happening there, but that's all what LS can provide. So basically you can see that there is this like a retail business, and then there is this also the supermarket type of business that are both really working well in this your case. And I know like all the features needed.
This looks a little bit bigger than a Matmissionen.
Yeah, and maybe there's something else. I think there's a hotel or something that you don't have yet, but that's also one of the LS capabilities as well. Maybe you're expanding. and just few words about the LS retail itself. It's like really like a vertical of over 30 years of experience. They have over 83,000 retail and hospitality locations. They are like worldwide vertical, and there are over 5,100 customers using this LS retail solution. And we as Azets have been LS retail partner over 13 years, and we have done, I just quickly counted that over 15 implementations that I counted in the Nordics mainly. So that's, we have a lots of history and lots of expertise of implementing this LS retail solution. And then what is the LS retail is building is like also to have this unified experience and having using the Microsoft Business Central as a core, but expanding it like as I mentioned on the HQ side, like what is happening like on the back office, like reporting, analytics, financial budgeting regarding the retail business, how to do replenishments, loyalty management, and also the whole the sales and marketing is done, and also the inventory and warehouse management that is really critical for you. Then on the stores itself, there is this like a stock management, cash management, like a point of sale, mobile POSs, and then on the customer service side, you can have this member management and things like that. So this is all the features that was like needed in your case as well. And then one like quite important add-on here was also the Tasklet that we have been delivering quite many of our customers. That's basically the handheld device that you use in the warehouse, because to make the warehouse process as simple as possible. When you get the items in, you can really scan them and you can check what is coming and do a lots of stuff actually with that PDA, so the users in this warehouse doesn't need to use the laptop or anything else. They just can do everything with the PDA, and there is a quite many things happening in that picture as well, but mainly there is stuff coming from the supplier, there is to the warehouse that is in the center, and then in this picture there is this manufacturing side, but it could be, in your case, it could be store that like where the items are then going. But having all the items counted and like pick it up and transferred is really important, and that's why the tasklet is good for it. So then, can you please explain what was your, like, you thought about your story, but what was your IT situation and landscape before the implementation?
Well, as I said, I believe we counted maybe 5 different systems that we had to interact with. I didn't mention before, we also need to work with some kind of CRM system.
Yeah.
And a lot of how we spoke to each other nationally was done through very sub-optimized processes, like using Google Documents or sending Excel documents from city to city. So mainly it's about transparency, and when we're growing this large, we have a need to interact with our donating companies on a regional and national level, and also keeping track of it, making sure that we don't seem, how to say, confused. You're not supposed to get 2 different calls from 2 different key account managers, if you will, from Matmissionen to the same person. But it was really, we put a lot of work into sharing information that we already had in one system, bringing it to another system. And maybe the main disconnect, I would say, was between the warehouse and the store, in terms of our process and in terms of geography, central towards regional. One really good example on a specific need we had was real-time tracking and pricing. As I said, transparency is important, because if I go to any of our 9 stores in Stockholm, I will always find a customer that tells me that it's always better in this other store, and trust me, it can't be true for every 9 stores. So the more transparent we can be, the better. But since we work with donated products that are at risk of becoming waste, it's typically a short amount of time before best before dates, sometimes the very same day. So we need something that's also able to update in real time, and to have a different price in store X than in store Y. So we want to push out pricing centrally and as easy for everybody as possible. But we also need to take into account that maybe we will get something close to end of business day that we need to move fast and push that out to one store for a special price in that store. And the old systems we were working on didn't really have that kind of speed. It was built more for a general kind of store operation, where it's fine if prices update overnight, but we sometimes need to do it hourly. But the main thing is connection, as I said, between the central management and the regional ones, and also between the stores and the warehouse. And I think we will get to that on our very final picture, but we also had a lot of stuff we wanted to do in terms of our partners who actually give us the food that we haven't been able to do.
Yeah, but mainly having many separated systems and not integrated together, and having not the transparency and not at all like real time like reports what's happening. So at least like what's the situation now after the implementation, and I think this is quite typical with many of our customers, that when we have this centralized system with centralized data, all the real-time data with the integrations, you can have this everything working as a whole. So everything is really transparent, and you can all the time see what's happening and where are the items and what's happening in the stores. So basically, I put it here, the few keywords, but mainly the point of sale. That is really the key part on the stores, to see what are being purchased. Then all the store operations at whole, what's happening there, like what is the store stocks and so on. Inventory management in the main warehouse and how to distribute it. Then all the reporting, as you mentioned, the transparency, when you have a one system where you can get the data out, that makes that easier. And then at the end, the financial management as well, because all the transactions are like real time there in the financial management, and you can then like do that accounting properly. So this is quite typical, like a United platform, what we deliver. So and it suits your well as well. Yeah, and then these were the main operational improvements. So maybe you op them up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, in a way we couldn't before, and I should say when we started this, we didn't envision that Matmissionen would grow this large. We had in mind maybe 4 stores in Stockholm and maybe 1 or 2 in Gothenburg and Malmö, but in 2022 that changed. So we didn't really plan for a rapid expansion, but the main thing right now is that we will be able to have a fair distribution, and as we've said a couple of times, transparency, and we're also able to put numbers together and kind of divvy up our limited amount of food based on how many members one store serves or how many members a region serves. We can also see all of the products in the system in real time, which is a big step up and allows for trust in the system. Since everyone has less than they would like to, it's really, really important. And as Mikko and myself have said, the integrated approach is crucial, I would say. We don't want to waste any time pressing the systems to do stuff that they are not supposed to do, or talking to each other when they're not supposed to. We also want to be able to provide both our members and the companies working with us with more comprehensive data. As I said, we are nerds, we measure everything. But what we haven't been able to do so far is to give each donating company a number that says this is what your donations have contributed to. And we're not quite there yet, but in the coming phases, we will be there. And I really love about my job the fact that we meet a lot of disenfranchised people, and as I said, the main kind of state for being in the welfare system is you have to prove something to get something, and you have to be grateful for what you get. But the fact is that our customers is also doing something good for the environment. So in terms of what we want to do and report to our members is to actually show the good that they are doing on a societal level. And this we will also be able to do, I think.
That's really good. And then I think there is one example of like a concrete example of the improvement about the picking process.
Yeah. And this can seem a bit technical and very easy, but let me tell you, from the past 9 years, it hasn't been easy. But this is another thing that our old systems wasn't able to do. When we scan something, we will now be able to get almost all of the data like this through a database called Validu. We will be able to establish pricing on a central level. We couldn't have the same price easily in all of the stores in the old systems. And the purchase limits, let me tell you, it's going to make our numbers in our employee service skyrocket, because that's the biggest stress in the stores. When you're in the cashier, all of the customers will look at if you give anyone an advantage. And since we didn't have purchase limits in the systems, you had to track this manually. And of course, if I have a large family, I will try to, if I can only buy two packets of chicken, I will try to put one first, one in the middle, and one last, and hope that you don't notice. But the customer after me will be really angry because Mikko allowed me to buy extra chicken. So the fact that the system will actually tell us that now this customer has reached their limit will be a huge improvement. But the most important part, fair allocation, and to be able to sell the product knowing that we have the traceability in a sense that we didn't have before, are probably the most important things.
Yeah. Good. And then how we did it. So how we did the actual LS Central implementation project. So basically, like as mentioned, like this all the standard system I showed you was not fully enough. And why it wasn't so that because the some of the standard processes that Johan has described, they're a little bit differentiated from what like the normal like retailers are doing, because they want to of course get more profit, and then they know when they're buying in that what is coming, and if it's not there, of course it's reclamation, and then what is the pricing and things like that. So everything everything this is a little bit different from, I think, in all point of view, like how the basic ERP operates, how they operate in the stores and also in the warehouse, because as you mentioned, the handling the donations is a little bit different than handling the purchases that you are waiting to come today or tomorrow. So then basically yeah, and then also the selected customers based on the charity criteria. So because normal retailers can have everybody coming and there is no limitation, so we need to actually limit the system ways you have it describing to meet your like standards and take that stress away from the cashiers, for example, because that's what we don't normally do in the retailer as well, that the process in the when you are buying something and you are in the cashier desk, everything should be as smooth as possible. Because if there is even small hiccup and you need to wait 15 extra seconds, that feels like a forever, and the next person is waiting as well, that what is really happening is not working. So the situation can be really stressful. So to make it as simple as possible for both from the cashier and also the buyer and also the next one on the line, that's really important. And also you're offering the special pricing and payment types, as mentioned, like we need to tweak a little bit, like how would we handle the discounts or the purchase limits.
Yeah, I think the like weekly balance is kind of on a technical standpoint, a bit difficult to account for. It's not something that a regular store maybe has. That you have these 300 crowns or 30 euros that actually is not a discount and it's not a gift card, but if I buy something, it will trickle down, and when it reaches zero, I'm not allowed to buy anything for the special price. So I think, I'm just guessing, but I think that may be something that's very Matmissionen specific.
Yeah. And what is our solution approach? It's actually quite similar than in other cases, that we of course try to leverage the current system features as much as possible, like to do the configuration a little bit differently or using the already standard features as much as possible to minimize the code modifications. And then of course there were needed some extensions to be built, and that's now with this new modern architecture quite easy to do, and that's what we did. And what is also quite typical for us that we do some integrations to make those processes really automated. So basically we made the finance integrations for the finance part. Then, as you mentioned, it's really critical for you to get the data from Valido, and that's integration we build. And also the integrations for the management system to get the your customer data in to the system and to set those limits, because you have a separate system to handling those members. So those were the main points we did. So some new key features we developed was the customer and pricing management, the special pricing logic for the members, the member identification, how that is handled in the stores, the member weekly, daily discount balance tracking, as Johan has been describing, the member specific discount balance that is suitable usable in all stores. So you can go today here and today some other store. So you're more like operating with the store chain, not only in the one store, and all the information is in the system, not in the cashier's mind.
Yeah, and that actually follows in customer behavior because of the model. About 20% of our customers locally in each region, if there are more stores, they will try different stores just to see, is there anything else available here that wasn't in the one I normally shop. So that one's important.
Yeah. And also the based on that, you have the automatic saldo update, so you don't, or the user doesn't need to worry about the saldo. It just automatically updates, and you can go 2 times a day or like 2 different stores per day, and everything is counted automatically. So that is how the new system works. then like how we did it. So this actually follows quite well with our standard ERP implementation model. So we have this like a standard model for this kind of Business Central LS implementations. I'm not going to do details, but during the project we had this kind of quite many rounds of these iterations of doing different work as like agile ways, and then at the end we went live and started the continuous services. And actually we made this project in quite many phases. We will go that pretty soon. So that's also quite normal nowadays that we want to go live with some version as fast as possible to get already the benefits, and then to continue it for the other stores while still developing the other features. So here's the project timeline. So we started the project January 2024, and we had a discussions like the fall 2023. And we had this first phase called like minimum viable product that we aimed up to have the one pilot store go live with the most critical features. And that was in June 2024. And when that was done, then we started to roll out the new stores after that, and it's still continuing as Johan mentioned. And then also we started our support and maintenance services after the first go live. So all the issues, or if there's questions coming, we have the support services running. And then in the project side, we did the phase 2 starting October 2024 till April 2025. So there was a scope was mainly the food bank implementation, the campaign management improvements, the tasklet implementation, and the warehouse process improvements. So something we didn't catch fully in the phase 1, so we need to have this second phase to fix these or make the system more better. And then we already continued with the phase 3 of still doing more improvements for the features and new features to improve the processes, because it's quite usual as well that when you get used to the system, you see, okay, now this is the new system, this works like this. Hey, actually, if you could do this and that, it would be much better. So then we collected those as a backlog, and then we decided what we take as a next phase that we are then implementing for you. And that's quite good actually to like if you try to think all the processes through before having even seeing the new system, it's quite impossible task actually. Like you had a lot of process maps. So as we see, it's much better to have the first version live with the critical functions, so you can run the system. You people will get know the system, and users have ideas how to develop it, and then we can continue from there. And now also there is this phase 4 coming. It's still in planning table, but we will go that actually soon. But this is as I said, I've been involved, I don't know how many, 20 plus implementation projects, and this looks quite typical. And we were able to meet the targets. So then, Johan, what's next?
Yeah, well, right now we are implementing the warehouse or food bank systems, and that's actually the first thing that we're going to roll out nationally, or the first thing that every franchisee is going to have. As you mentioned, when a new store has opened for the past months, we have put the new systems in them from the start, but we still have a couple of stores running on our old systems because of outgoing contracts and such. But before year's end, we will have the warehouse process improved, and we will have the system implemented in all of the warehouses locally. The member management will be our next focus. As I said, right now we have an app, but we want it to be more than something that you just reserve your time, because as I said, we have a very engaged customer group, and Matmissionen is a very special kind of store. You kind of have to get used to the fact that I can't buy everything here and have the mindset, what can I buy, and will this allow me to buy other stuff at another store? So we want to do a lot of things with how we interact with our members. We also have, I could do a separate hour talking about what becomes food waste, but a whole category that we deal with are newly released products, because you don't want to run out of them. So almost every company, if it's not a mega hit, ends up with surplus, and we typically get that. So we have at all times in the stores products that the customer doesn't really know. So we want to be able to use our member management system also as a food inspiration tool. And I would say my vision is to also have customers interact digitally with each other, but that's probably a few years away. But we really have like magicians shopping with us who can really turn anything into a good meal, and we want to allow them to be inspirators. Transparency to the companies that we meet, and as I said, to be able to provide sustainability numbers for them. I know the slide here says web shop implementation, and that will probably freak out my employees if they are watching, but because when we say web shop, at least right now, we're using that for the food banking, because almost all of the regional food banks right now caters to not just their mother organization, but to other NGOs. In Stockholm, for example, we I think delivered to 10 different NGOs and 30 different operations. So we want this to be a transparent web shop where the operations can order themselves and see what's available in the food bank, because right now this is one of the things that we're still doing by manual lists to a large degree. And of course, we're planning to open new stores as well. 18 will be open before year's end, and we already have plans for at least 2 more at the beginning of next year.
Yeah, sounds really good. Okay, so I think that's actually, we have still 3 minutes time. Yeah. So I'm asking, do we have any questions online?
Yes.
Ooh. So we have time for questions if you have any. And I'm leaving this slide here, like already, like if you wanna have a feedback for us, you can scan the QR code from there.
It was not a question really. Somebody said this. Sorry for joining a little bit late.
Okay, okay, but nice that you joined. If you missed the starting part, you can watch the recording. But it's nice that you came, whoever you were. so thanks for that. But hey, Johan, I really want to thank you for this 1 hour. It went really well. We didn't practice it that much, but it turns out that like we fit the schedule. I want to thank you all who used the time to watch us. Hopefully you maybe got something new. And if you want to discuss more about the system or with Matmissionen or with Azets, you can contact me or Johan, or you can contact me and I forward it to Johan, whatever, or send comments there on the feedback that you want to meet Johan, and I will arrange it, no problem. But thank you all, and this was a great session, and I hope that you all have a really great day and the rest of the week.
Thank you.
So thank you for this, and thank you, Johan, once more.